starting our session. It's Marine Engineering 101 and for our engineering conference this year. So Science Holic is a youth-run nonprofit that aims to introduce intricate scientific concepts in a manner that is fun and comprehensible to teens. We serve as a free resource for students to learn about science topics, and we hope to help teenage readers and contributors to be critical thinkers and promote thought-provoking conversations. And we try to provide various opportunities for students around the world with English as their second language to expand their ability and provide volunteer and leadership opportunities for those who want to help others. So this is our speaker for this session. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Okay, as you can see in the slide, my name is Mikhail Ingemar Tolentino. I am born and raised in the Philippines. My citizen is a Filipino. So my current profession is a chief engineer on board conventional vessels. So I've been sailing for more than 10 years now. Currently, I just signed off last end of July this year. So I stayed on board for almost a year. So this is my vacation, and I'm thanking everyone here in the Science Holic community for having me and having interest in me in sharing what I have to offer in Marine Engineering 101.
That's great. Okay, so I think we'll start off with the questions. Yeah. First, if anyone here has any questions, you can send them in the chat, and we can try to go over them at the end of the webinar. So first, these questions might be about like academics or people who like want to study marine engineering in the future. Our first question: what did you do in school to gain experience in marine engineering or any relevant fields?
Okay, for this question, to gain experience, you need to go on board, to go on the ship to gain experience. You need to go to work on the ship to gain experience. But during my time in school, there were not a lot of experiences, only in the classroom and some simulator wherein you have some equipments in the school that's like on board, but it's not that much compared to going on board. So basically in the school where I've been from. So I studied marine engineering, and in my school in my first year there were a lot of companies coming in our school, like Norwegian, German, Japanese companies, and these companies will come to the school and will ask for students to have some examinations, evaluations, interview, so that if you pass this evaluations or examinations, then they will hire you immediately, even if you're still in school. So it's like they're gonna, if you pass these examinations and they are convinced with you, it's like a pre-employment already, that you are already hired even if you're still at school, and they are going to sponsor you in your studies. So this is the first thing. Afterwards, for example, just like in my first company, I was sponsored by a Norwegian company. They have like a program in their cadets. It's like 2-1-1. It's like 2 years you have to go to school, and in the third year, you will be. They will call you. They will call their cadets to go on board to work on a ship as a cadet. So this is the first thing that made me have an experience on board ship. This is a cadet. So as being a cadet, being a cadet, you need to have a 1 year experience on board ship. This is your uh, experience in the field of work of marine engineering. Now, if you ask me, if you ask the curriculum of marine engineering here in the Philippines, um, it's basically a 3 year course, but generally it's 4 years. You have to finish your 3 year course at school. This is the academics, and you have to go on board ship for a 1 year experience on board. Now, if you just study 3 years and you cannot go on board, then you will not have your bachelor's degree. Now, the bachelor's degree is very important if you want to become an officer, but you can still work if you don't gain experience on board ship. You can still work on ship even if you don't have a bachelor's degree. If you only finish 3 years in your academics, but however, you will not become an engineer. You will just become a mere crew on board. So uh, generally speaking, you will not become a chief engineer or you will not become a captain. But if you finish your experience 1 year, including your 3 year academics at school, then you will gain your bachelor's degree and you will have this requirement to be able to take the examination or the certain requirements also to become an officer on board. So as for this question, to gain experience, it is from the company side that will give the cadets or the students the opportunity to be on board to gain some experience on board ship. Now, in order to do this you have to pass the evaluation or the examinations from the company so that they will hire you and give you a chance to gain experience working on board. But for other students, I would also give some information that if you are not like on our school, it's a bit difficult to gain experience because other schools don't provide companies to their students. So if you finish your 3 year in academics in school, then they have to find for themselves their companies so that they can be able to gain experience to have experience on board ship. But in my case, I was fortunate enough that my school had a program that they have some shipping companies coming to hire us even if we are still on the first year of our school. Then and to have to gain and gain gave us to gain experience working on board ships.
That's great. Yeah. So it's more about like personal experience and kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So next question. What kind of person would be good for studying marine engineering?
Okay. Good fit. Yeah, good fit. I think everyone's a good fit. May it be a male or a female. Basically, in my time before this profession was conquered by male, but nowadays there are a lot of female chief engineers. A lot of uh, captains like female captains, female engineers. Uh, they are. I think they're slowly coming out right now. These are female ones, and I think everyone's a good fit. It's just like everyone can be fit to study marine engineer as long as you have as long as you're healthy and capable, and also what's that? And also you can cope up financially because I think the 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 tuition in school for studying marine engineering, I think it's not that cheap nowadays, not like before. But if you can cope up financially and you are physically healthy and well, I think either male or female is a good fit for this profession.
That's great. Yeah. Next question. How or when did you know that marine engineering is what you wanted to do?
Okay. At first, this was not my first choice. Uh, I really wanted to become a dentist before, but excuse me. But because of financial reasons, because of poverty, because as you know, working on ship really pays well. So that's why I opted to go to 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 study being a seafarer. But when I studied this marine engineering course, it was not also my first choice. My first choice was going to deck. It's the marine transportation because there are a lot of misconceptions about marine engineering. It's a dirty job. The engineers do the dirty job. It's very noisy in the engine room, and it's the work environment is hot. Not like in the navigators, which is the marine transportation course. This is what you call the navigators on board. They are clean, they dress well, and it's like a prestigious job. Like if you go on a airplane, you're like the pilot, not the engineer. So it's like a prestigious job. So I opt for the navigator to be. going to the marine transportation. But unfortunately, in our school, when in our first day, they asked us to sign up for what course do we want. So eventually, everyone, I think 99% went to the navigators, the marine transportation. No one, I think there were only three students out of, I think, 150 students went to the marine engineering course because of really, that's what I've told you about these misconceptions. So everyone wanted to go to be a navigator, but our school doesn't want that, and they told us that it should be balanced. But eventually, no one wants to go to the engineering department, so they have to draw lots. Like it's like a raffle. They're gonna pick you, and you don't have any other choice. And unfortunately, I was selected to go to the engineering course, and I can't do anything. It was like a you study marine engineering course or you don't get to study. So I have to choose between the two. So okay, I went to the marine engineering course because a little information also from my school. It's like their program was like I study now, pay later, because in my case before it was a bit hard to go to college. So I came across this school and they were offering like a study now, pay later program. So if you are qualified, then during our academic years, they will be the one to provide us with our education. They will pay for everything, and when they gave us and when we can go on board to work on ship, it is the time that we can repay them for what they've sponsored or they've given us to so that we can study. So it's a study now pay later program. So that's why when I was selected to go to the engineering department, it was like it was I could study or I will not go to school. So that were just my two options. So I said, okay, if I cannot go to the navigators department, so okay, engineering as long as I can go to school. So that's when the time when it started in my first year that okay, it's this is not that bad. It might not be my first choice, but I think it's okay. And because in my first year I was still opting to be transferred to the navigator side, but because there's no option, so I think okay, I'll make this work. Okay, this will be it. So that's my story.
Yeah, it's great that like despite everything, it just worked out, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So our next question: what advice would you give to someone who wants to study marine engineering?
Okay, it's very simple. Uh, the advice that I can give if you want really to study marine engineering is you get ready to get your hands dirty because this is not a clean job. I mean, engineers on the ship do the dirty work, and when you're at school, be ready for a lot of calculations like physics, mathematics, calculus, and everything. But generally, when you come on board, there's not a lot of calculations when you're on the engineering side. But at school, you have to be ready for a lot of this mathematics, numbers. Uh, because I say this because I'm not really fun with numbers. I don't like numbers, but I have to deal with it. I have to work it out. So that's my advice. If you want to be an engineer someday, you have to get ready to get your hands dirty and a lot of calculations.
Definitely. Okay. So next, these questions are going to be more about your career, and yeah. So our next question: what is your current focus on your professional career?
Yes. Okay. As far as what I've achieved, I think I'm already satisfied. This is the topmost achievement one can get as a marine engineer to become a chief engineer. The chief engineer is the overall in command of the engine of the ship. This is the topmost achievement that one can get if someone is has the same profession as mine. So right now, personally speaking, my current focus is to be able to spend more time with my family, which my daughter is really growing up so fast. Because as far as I know, I've spent a lot of years on board than at home. Because normally, the contract on board is for us Filipinos like 9 or 10 months, and vacation like 2 or 3 months. So that gives you a ratio of like 9 months or 10 months on in one year. You have 9 months or 10 months on board, and you just have 2 or 3 months at home. So most of my time is at sea. Most of my time is at work, and I think I've been sailing for more than 10 years, 10 or 15 years now, and I think for me, it's time to focus on family now, and give time to see my daughter grow up. But I think because if in my current profession as a marine engineer, if you become a marine engineer, there are a lot of options to choose from. It's not just working on a ship. You can work on land, like for example, you can be a mechanic for cars, or maybe work on a power plant with a lot of generators. Everything that involves machinery can be. You can be you're not you're being a marine engineer is not just being an engineer on the ship, but you can also be an engineer on the land. Everything that involves machinery. As far as in my case, I I work or I teach at school and academics also. So that is what I'm working right now. I'm working on a in a training center where I teach for education for aspiring and current seafarers or engineers that are coming on board, so that they can renew their documents also. So being a marine engineer is not just working on the sea. You can also work on land.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting. I
Yeah.
think also sweet how you want to hang out with your family more too. Yeah. Our next question: what does your typical workday look like? Whether you're
Okay.
on board or not on board, any's fine.
Okay. I will talk about more on board because I've been working on board more than here in the land. So I have more time on the sea. So I Okay, the typical workday on board is normally we normally it's a normal working hours. It's like we start at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's an 8 hour work, and we end at the 5 o'clock. But generally speaking, working on board is not just 8 to 5. It's round the clock job, because as engineers, our main job is to maintain and repair the machineries of the ship. The machinery should work safely and efficiently. So anytime there is any problem, any abnormalities, any breakdowns, any damages on the machineries, may it be midnight, early dawn, or late night, we have to get up, we have to fix it, because that is our main job. It's not like it's because working on the ship is not like a walk in the park. I mean, the ship has to be running. It doesn't mean to say that there's a problem, but it's already 5 o'clock. Oh, we can do this tomorrow. No, the ship has to be running, because time is money. This is a business for the ship owners, so they have to pressure us that we have to run the ship. So, but normally, when I wake up around 6 o'clock in the morning. I get up as a chief engineer. I open my email, check for some messages from the office. Maybe they have something they want us to do. They want to check something, anything like that. Some messages from my email, and afterwards, around 7:45 in the morning, I go down to the engine room. In the engine room, we have this place called the engine control room, where all our instrumentation, our computers, everything that is in control is in that area, and this area is fully air conditioned. It's clean, and all of us will assemble there before 8 o'clock, so that we can have our we call the toolbox meeting, or our safety meeting, so that we can talk about what the jobs that we need to do for the day. I tell them that we need to do this, do this, do this, and eventually I have also a second engineer who will designate jobs to all the crew. And afterwards, if we everything is clear, then we go to work. And normally we start at 8. After our meeting, we go to work. Then around 10 o'clock on board, we have also what we call coffee time. So it says coffee time, but you can do whatever you want. You can eat, you can rest. It's a 30-minute break. After that one, you can come back, and around 12 noon, it's lunchtime. It's a 1 hour break also. And afterwards, we come to 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 3 o'clock, and 3 o'clock again is another coffee time, 3 to 3:30. Then 3:30 to 5 o'clock is back to work, and 5 o'clock it's dinner time. Dinner time, 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and that's it. That's the typical work day that we have on board.
That's very cool. Yeah. Um, our next question: what are some challenges you've overcome during your work as a marine engineer?
Okay, good question. Challenges. So there are a lot really, and uh, to name a few. But normally, these challenges that I have overcome during my work is a lot of breakdowns on the machineries. That's what I've told you before. It's not like if it's damaged after 5 o'clock, then we can do it tomorrow. No. As we have to run the ship safely and efficiently. So that's why every problem we have to fix it immediately. So some challenges are my challenges on board really involve a lot of breakdowns of the machinery. So I would cite one story that I have before. I was still not an engineer, I was younger that time. Uh, we were we were from Bahrain, yeah, and we were going to, I think that was, we were going to Netherlands, and we have to pass through this. I think you know the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, which this is pirate infested area. So yeah, it was a pirate infested area, and we don't have any guards or weapons on board, and it was very unlucky because when we were at the entrance of Red Sea, our main engine broke down, so the engine stopped. So everyone was nervous. Everyone was very afraid because maybe pirates will come on board because we're not running anymore. And it was a big job. I mean, the engine's big, and there was a really big problem. We cannot start the engine. We have to change the cylinder liner. It's a very big job, and I think the normal work time for this one to change the cylinder liner is around 8 hours. That's the minimum. But so I think because of adrenaline or something, we were able to do that in 6 hours, and and because 6 hours with no breaks and just continuously working. And fortunately, there were no pirates who came on board, and we fixed the engine, and we were able to run the engine and sail again. So many times I've experienced breakdowns in the engine. For example, also I've experienced before some, because in the ship we have also some generators which gives power to the ship. So if the generators fail, the ship cannot run also. So we there was a breakdown on our generators, and we need really to fix it, because if not, we will have no light or electricity on board. So with minimum lighting, we were able to fix it also. And yeah, those are my challenges in on board. Normally it's breakdown of engines, and really it's like pressure, because you are uh, if you're pressured to finish it on time and as quickly as possible, and you have to do it efficiently. So that's some of my challenges on board.
Yeah, oh, that sounds really stressful and kind of like a crazy
Yeah.
situation. Yeah. Our next question: what do you enjoy most about your work?
Okay. I like this question. What do you enjoy most about your work? I mean, personally, um, I would say uh the money. Personally, it really pays well. It really pays well, especially when you're an officer on board. But to but if you ask me this question, what do you enjoy most about my work? One of the things I enjoy is learning new things every day. In my time, in my career, throughout my career, I'm an engineer. I've been sailing for many years. I've been experiencing a lot of trouble and machineries, different brands, different makers, but I haven't mastered everything. I think all of us cannot master this one. It's just really a broad profession, broad learning that you can master everything in your career because there are a lot of really machineries on board, and every day, every day there is something to learn. Even now, I've been sailing for how many years? Even now, as a chief engineer, I still learn a lot of things every day. You know, experience things. I know you can find out something about this one, and about this one. So, what I really like about this is day by day, I can be able to learn new things. And as what I've told you, I enjoy also that I can profit from my from my profession.
Yeah, I think both reasons are very valid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our next question, what is something you've learned from your work experience?
Okay, what is something I learned from my work experience? Well, in my current work experience, something I've learned is throughout the years as a marine engineer. I think you don't have to be really very good. You don't have really to be very intelligent. Because I think marine engineering is not rocket science. That's what I've told you. Uh, Everyone can study marine engineering. So what I've learned is one thing to become a as a marine engineer, you have to know how to use your common sense. For example, if you're just starting out, like it's your first time or second time on board, sometimes you don't know the job. Sometimes your chief engineer or your officers will tell you something that to do this, and you don't have any idea what to do. You can't just say, "Yeah, I'll do this. I'll do this." You can't say like that because if you do something in the engine and you don't know what you are doing, it's a risk of your safety. You could die because this is a machinery. It's running and it's very dangerous if you don't have any knowledge on what to do. So that's why I say that to use the common sense is very important. For example, if you don't know, you ask. You ask the engineers, you ask your officers, what is this? What is this? Please teach me. And for example, for in my case, as the engineering officers, we don't know everything. For example, we can encounter some problems that we don't know. Nobody knows. So what do? We have some books. We have some instruction manuals on board. We refer to the books. Check the book. What does it say? What do we need to do? Okay. So those are some of the facts that I've learned on board. You have to be able to use your common sense when doing this kind of work. It doesn't need to, it's not rocket science. You don't need to be a scientist or to be a genius to be able to know marine engineering. You have to just use your common sense, and also you have to be flexible with people because on board you will meet different types of people, different nationalities, even the same if you have the same nationality you have different people with different dispositions. Everyone would want that, you want this, others would want that and everything, but eventually you have to build a camaraderie. You have to be flexible because if not, come to think of it, you're on board for 9 months, and normally we are only 20 to 25 people on board. Every day you see these people, only or you, 25 people for a very long time, for 9 months, 10 months. And if you make some tension on board, like it can cause some fights. And this is not very healthy when you're on board. You have some enemy on board and you don't like each other, because on board, camaraderie is very important. Everyone should work together so that you can run the ship safely and efficiently. So two things: use your common sense and to be always flexible with other person.
Yeah, those skills are definitely very applicable and important that
Yeah.
to like real world situations. So our last question is, what do you think are some misconceptions about marine engineering? I know you've mentioned it a little earlier on, but
Yeah.
you can maybe go a bit deeper about those.
Yeah. This is what I've known for the since from the years that I've been working. A lot of misconceptions, even people who are still who wants to study marine engineering, that on board it is a very hard job. It's a very dirty job. Uh, it's noisy in the engine room, and it's very hot compared to the navigators where they're on the bridge. They navigate. They only uh, use their computers and they dress well. They're very clean and they have their air condition running at very cold temperature so that they don't get sweaty. And normally, when you are a navigator, for example, normally when the air, your air condition is not too cold or something's happened to your air condition, what they do is they call the engineers, pump it up a little bit because it's very hot or something like that. So that's why this is a there are a lot of misconceptions that normally people don't like to take up marine engineering because of these misconceptions. But actually, it's there are good days and there are also bad days. Uh, in bad days, that's what I've told you before. If breakdown of machinery, your job is on pressure, time pressured, and everything. These are the bad days. But it's not every day you have bad day. It's like uh, once or twice in a blue moon you have like this one. But in the good days, uh, there we don't do the dirty work. Sometimes we do the paperworks. We just do some reports and everything, and a little bit of cleaning, mop. You make some mopping or some wiping around, and that's it. So it's not every day that it's rainy days every day. There are good days and there are also bad days about this one. But as far as I know, it's not every day that is a bad day. There are more good days. And also, as for the part that it's noisy, yeah, it's really noisy because there are a lot of machineries that are running. So it's a very noisy environment in the engine room. But we wear some ear muffs or some earplugs to protect our ears from the noise in the engine room. Well, when we talk in the engine room, we shout or just make some sign languages because it's very noisy. So if you speak uh in a low voice, then nobody can hear you. But normally we shout or we make some sign languages and anything. So I think it's workable. It's not that bad. And also a misconception because as what my mom told me before I came to this school, do not take up this marine engineering course because in the engine room it is very hot. They say it's very hot, and it's not good for you if it's very hot. Your work environment is very hot. It's better to be on the deck because they have a good air conditioning system and you work on a cool environment. But this is a very big misconception also because yeah, it's hot in the engine room, but it's hot when the climate is hot. When the climate is cold, it's also cold in the engine room, and it's a very advantage when it's winter time because in winter time when you're working on deck, you have to wear a lot of clothes. It's very cold, but in the engine room, if it's winter time, you can just go beside the main engine because it's hot there. You can warm yourself up in the engine because it's hot. So that's how you handle these uh jobs in the engine. But also during at port when we dock at port. So when we dock at port, when the captain says, "Okay, it's finished with the engine. We are done with the engine. You can switch off now." After that one, engineers are good to relax. Everything when the engine is finished, we are good to relax. We can go rest or we can go ashore and do some stuff to relax ourselves. But for the deck people, when you for the navigators, when we come on port, they have to prepare everything again because they are loading. They have to load their cargo or discharge the cargo, paperworks and everything. But for the engineers, when the engine is finished, we are done. Relax, take some rest, or go ashore somewhere to do shopping and everything. So I think also the last part, I think working on board is it's not all good days and also bad days. There are good days and also bad days. So I think from the deck to the engine, it is the same. So everyone planning to take up marine engineering, it's not such a bad. It's not. If you want to take up marine engineering, it is a good choice. I think for me, it pays well, and you get to learn new things every day, and you'll also uh, maybe find uh, contentment in having to do some maintenance and troubleshooting and repairing some stuff. If your passion is in machineries, in doing some maintenance and repair works, then I think marine engineering is for you. Thank you. That's all.
Yeah, that's great. I think we just select Q&A, but I think we might just skip it because I don't see any questions. But um, so next, oh yeah, we have our new engineering magazine on our website. I think everyone should check it out. Yeah, I think the link will be sent in the chat. Um, next we have like our socials. So we have our website, our Instagram, and our email on the screen. I think the links for those will also be sent in the chat. And lastly, you can also work with Scientolic as a team member for like content editing, art outreach, all those stuff. You can have your like blog or magazine submitted on our website, or you can just join our mailing list, which is those links will also be sent in the chat. Yeah. Um. Oh yeah. Those are our partnerships. We have 9 this year, so that's great. And thank you so much for attending our webinar today.